Morning everybody, and welcome to our next class on food chains. So before we begin, we are going to do the homework and the recap, but beforehand I want to inform you that Kinta here is our animal adoption packs. Remember, we have 3 different types of adoption packs. We have gold, a silver and bronze, and with the gold one you would get to meet this animal twice a year and hopefully fly her if she's too stubborn. So if you're interested in any of our adoption packs, or anyone's birthdays or anything are coming up, email address at the bottom for any details. They're great little birthday animal crazy kids or animal crazy adults as well. I know I'd love an adoption pack if I didn't work with these guys, so it's definitely something to consider as that extra little something during this really hard time. So your homework recap. So this week we are doing about food chains, and we want you to pick your own habitat and create your own food chain. Now, it can be an Australian food chain, which is where Kinta is from, or it can be British, it can be African. You can use all over the past few weeks to help guide you through your food chain. They're all available on our YouTube page. So today we are going to be looking at Tertiary consumers and apex predators. Okay, so there's lots of fun things to learn about these guys and where they sit in their food chain. So we're just going to do a recap on what you guys have already looked at this week with the animals. So on Monday you met Melissa and you guys spoke about the producers, which is everything green pretty much. Any animal that is a herbivore eats the producer. So grass, trees, bushes, all of them are producers. And then we moved on to our primary consumer, where we met our Uromastic lizard on Tuesday. And we also looked at other ones. So elephants are a primary consumer because they're herbivores. So all the herbivores live in this section. Yesterday you met Liam and Willow, and you guys looked at secondary consumers. And you were learning about the fact that they eat other animals. Some of them might be omnivores, where they eat animals and fruit and veg. Some of them might just be carnivores, like hedgehogs. So there's lots of different types of secondary consumers. And today we are looking at tertiary. Okay, so this here is Kinta, and she is a laughing kookaburra. We're going to explain why she is the third consumer in the food chain and not the apex predator, and then we will also look at different examples of apex predators. Unfortunately, I don't have any with me. They're too big. They're probably too wild. They'd probably try and eat me with being an apex predator. So let's tell you a few fabulous things about Kinta. So remember the words to remember that we looked at. So Kinta here is a carnivore, okay, and she is a predator, but she is also prey, and we'll look why in a minute. Some people also call them insectivores because they love hunting for insects. It's fun for them. So we'll tell you about Kinta's lifestyle in Australia and see how she fits into the food chain as the third consumer. So Kinta here is a laughing kookaburra, and she is just beautiful. Okay, and she knows it. She's also very noisy. She's one of our wow factors here at the zoo. If you don't know what you're looking for and you happen to be walking past, Kinta will make her very loud laughing call to let you know where she is, and guide you to her. So she's very impressive. I would love to say that is it, but it's not. It goes on much longer. At the end of the video, we'll see whether we can get her to do it for you so you can see how noisy she truly is. So she is an Australian bird, and she is the largest member of the kingfisher family. Oh, okay. I'm going there. Okay, she's the largest member of the kingfisher family. If you've ever seen a kingfisher before, then you know that they have this very long beak here, and they dive in and out of water hunting for fish. Now, Kinta here doesn't eat fish. She eats other things. So she loves snakes, lizards, mammals, insects. She's been known to eat some baby birds occasionally in the wild. So she is a really good predator. And the way we're going to show you that is if you watch her, as her body moves with the wind of a branch, her head can stay completely still. if she focuses enough. There you go. Well done, Kinta. So if the branches are swaying, she can still focus on exactly what she sees without actually worrying about losing where it is. What? Okay, we have a lot to say this morning. We woke up on the good side of the bed, didn't we, Kinta? Yes, you did. So she's an incredible hunter because she can focus on her food even if there's so many distractions going on around her, like a swaying branch. And it's the same with kingfishers. So they are really, really good predators because they can actually do this with their necks. You guys try it. See whether you can move your neck and move your body and keep your neck completely still. Choose something to focus on and see whether you can do it. I'm sure you can't. Normally when we go out to schools, we get all the kids to try and they don't realise that they're bobbling their head around too. Makes you look really funny and it's a good laugh. It's pretty fun to do, isn't it, Kinta? No one can do what you do. Good girl. Okay, so these guys, you would find them in the eucalyptus forest in Australia. So they are forest dwelling birds and they would be living in the canopy area. Can you remember what that area is from our lessons on rainforests? So you would find her in the canopy and emergent layers of her forest. These guys, they nest up to 30 feet high. So it's pretty tall for them, and they do it so that they don't get predated on by things that dwell on the ground, such as foxes and cats. So they've planned their lifestyle and adapted really, really well. Now, the noise that a kookaburra makes is a territorial noise. No, you're not coming on my shoulder, Kinta. No. She's very friendly. But don't put your finger near her beak. So these guys, they nest that high so that cats and stuff are less likely to get to their young and their eggs. So they've planned it really well. Even though they are the third on the food chain, there are still things that hunt them. So cats, foxes, other birds of prey, anything that flies above her that eats meat is classed as a predator because they can catch her out of the sky. So she has to be really careful on when she's out. Now that noise that she makes, this famous call that we're going to show you in a bit, hopefully, is really important. Some people think it's just because they're communicating with each other, but they're also being territorial. So these guys are a very, very territorial animal. If you ever go to Australia, you might see a group of kookaburras together. They would be family, okay? So these guys are monogamous. That's a really, really big word. Okay, can you guys say monogamous? Good job. So monogamous means that they breed for life. So they find a male and they're together forever. It's essentially like animal marriage without even realizing it. So these guys are monogamous and their young can stay with them for at least a year and a half after hatching from the egg. So if you do see a group of kookaburras, they're a cute little family. Kookaburras here aren't able to lay eggs until they're at least 2 or 3 years old. So unfortunately, the young would stay with them quite a while until they're ready to leave mummy and daddy, and then they will fly the nest and go find their own friend to mate with for life, to have babies with. So because she is a bird, if you remember from our classification week, birds lay eggs. So Kinta would lay eggs. Now she can lay up to 5 eggs and she only lays them once a year. So she will lay her eggs between May and August and then she will incubate them for about 38 days. And then after that, she will spend at least 6 to 8 weeks feeding her young. And all of her other children from the year before would also help her feed the young. And then what they do is they stick around with mum so mum can teach them exactly what to do. Mum and dad teach them how to be kookaburras. Okay, they teach them the alarm calls. Even though their call sounds exactly the same, each call is different. One is because they're hungry. Another one is from the young. So during breeding season and hatching season, you hear kookaburras a lot more in Australia, and this is just because the young are telling mum that they're hungry. So you have a hunger call, you have a danger call. So even though they sound exactly the same, very, very different. Thank you for that. Very, very different. So you can learn the calls. Come on then. will do it every morning and every evening to tell people that this is her area. So she'll tell all the other kookaburras it's her area and they must stay away, otherwise they will be fighting. Okay, so when kookaburras fight, they use this very big beak of theirs. This beak is very sharp and very pointy, and they will grab each other's wings with them. They will fight with their beaks and attack them. Now, most birds of prey, they have very sharp talons as well, but Kinta here does not. Okay, they're sharp enough for her to hold onto a branch and have good grip, but they're not like an owl or a falcon or anything like that. They are not that sharp. They don't damage the skin. Always the beak. The beak is the big hunter. So these guys will sit in their tree, or they will be foraging on the ground for their food, and they are sit and swoop. So they'll sit in their tree, see their food, their head will wobble like this. They will find their food, focus on their food, and then they will fly down, and instead of grabbing it in their feet like most birds of prey, they will grab it in their beak, this very sharp thing. Okay, so they will aim it perfectly on where to hit the animal, and then they will either kill it there and then, or they will fly it back to a tree or a good rock and they will kill it there, depending on what they've caught. So if they have caught something, the way they kill it is because they don't have the sharp talons. They will flick their head and they will whack it against the ground or a rock or the branch, and they'll essentially hit it until it's dead. So they'll keep flicking their head until their food is dead, and then they will eat it whole straight down that really big beak. She will lift her head up like this, and it'll go straight down, and she'll go like this constantly, trying to juggle it down depending on what she's caught. Essentially, snakes are easier to eat. They're thin, they're narrow, they slide straight down the hatch. Things like eggs or mice are a little bit harder. They're a bit wider, they've got different shaped bodies, so that is much, much harder for her to gobble up. But it doesn't stop her. She will keep going. If it doesn't fit, she will hit it some more against a branch until it is all squishy, and so it does fit. You're not going down there. No. So they're a really, really incredible animal, aren't you? And they are great hunters. Now, if Kinta gets scared, she has a very good way of showing it. She has a crest on her head here. It's nice and flat at the moment because she's okay. She's happy. She's content. But if she gets nervous, she will lift her crest up really high, okay, and make herself look all big and scary. It's her only defense mechanism, really. Her other one is she tries to blend in and be a tree. So her coloration kind of looks tree-like, so she can sit there and pretend to be a tree. She doesn't have extremely bright colours, so it just helps her camouflage a bit better. The only thing that she does have really is on this section of her wing here. I don't know whether you can see these colours, but they are slightly blue. They've got a blue hint to them, and in the sunshine they are really bright blue. Okay, so they're really, really incredible little birds, aren't you? So she is third in the food chain. Apex predators, we'll give you a quick introduction on them as well, are things that are at the top of the food chain. So lions, tigers, T-Rex. He's a pretty good example of being top of the food chain. If anyone loves dinosaurs, you all know that if the dinosaurs are misbehaving on Jurassic World, then they bring out T-Rex and he sorts them out. Yeah. So T-Rex is what we call an apex predator. He's a full-blown carnivore, and he will kill anything that gets in his way, or anything that he fancies eating, to be quite honest. Humans are also classed as an apex predator now. We eat chicken, we eat pig, so we're omnivores, but also nothing can really take us out. We kill the animals we want to eat, so we are classed as top of the food chain as well, which is really important for you guys to know. So kookaburras here, they are not endangered. They are least concern on the conservation status. However, it's very inaccurate because they are so wide ranged. Okay, these guys are widespread through Western Australia. So it's really hard to get an accurate number of how many breeding pairs there are to know whether or not they are really endangered. So they get surveyed every couple of years. So the way they survey them is they choose a spot in Australia and they will go around and see how many breeding pairs and every bird's feathers sit differently. They have different markings, so it's easy to identify them. Another way of doing it is they would catch them up and they would put identification ring numbers on their legs to track where they go. So they'll do this when there's young in the nest so that it's easier to do. And they have to do it all under license. You can't just go and catch a random bird and put a ring on it. It has to be done under the correct conditions with the correct licensing to make sure you're okay to handle these birds and that you're trained to do so. Kinta here can break my finger if she really put her mind to it. If she was wild, I would not be able to handle her right now. Now, some Australians do feed their wild kookaburras. Some of them have got so used to with having humans around that they're not that scared of them anymore. So some of them can be fed, but still there's that risk that they are a wild animal, same with all animals at the zoo. So you have to be really careful on how you handle them and that you are trained to do so. Isn't that right, Kinta? Yes, it is. So Kinta's laugh, you heard it. I should have gave you a warning. It's very noisy. She does this every morning and every night, and she is also known as the Bushman's wake-up call because as soon as the sun rises, that is what you get. Once one kookaburra starts, so do the rest because they're territorial, they're calling to each other. So her family that she lives will all do it. And then also if there's any kookaburras in the area, they will try and be territorial over these guys. So it's something really important to consider. If you ever go to Australia, you'll hear them. They're everywhere. They're great to listen to. You can never really get bored of that sound. Doesn't deafen you either, so you're okay. So we are going to move on to the homework that has been created so far this week. So this is the Carroll family's food chains, and they are amazing. Using the stones and popping them in your garden, guys, are great. So it looks like here we have a British native food chain. So we've got a tree, and then we've got some insects that eat off the tree, and then we've got a hedgehog, and then we have a fox. What do you think would come after a fox, guys? What do you think would be the apex predator in the British food chain? Okay, I'll give you a hint. They fly in the sky. Okay, and then we also wrote all the interesting stuff on the back. So well done, guys. That is incredible. I love it. Okay, so they said they're going to pop them in their garden afterwards to make sure that they can always see them and they are fun and interesting to look at. And they also remember what they have learned. So we're going to have a look at a quick recap on what we've done today. So you guys have met Kinta the Kookaburra, and she has shown you how noisy she can really be. Anyone needs a new alarm, Kinta is the one that you need. She will wake you up. You've had a look at apex predators today. We've only touched slightly, but you'll be able to find a lot more information on them if you do your research. And we've also looked at how Kinta sits in the food chain. Yes, we have. Good job. And don't forget, your homework this week is to create your own food chain. And if you're feeling extra creative or extra smart, then create your own food web as well. Have lots of different animals in there. We can't wait to see your homework, so please show it off on our Facebook post. We've had so much fun seeing them over the past few weeks. Unfortunately, we can't come out to you guys, so it's really nice that you're communicating with us and coming to see us. We've been having so much fun checking out the work you're creating. Just a quick reminder, so it's bingo on Monday. Okay, so bingo is a really fun thing to do for you guys and for us. We're raising money to take care of these beautiful animals. Unfortunately, they take a lot of money to take care of. Kinta's food here a day costs us roughly about £3 or £4, okay, and that's just for one bird, so it's very, very expensive. So bingo tickets are £1. Kids can play as well. It's very kid friendly. We will be playing it live on Bank Holiday Monday, the 25th of May at 2:30 p.m. I will be emailing out all of the tickets tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's Friday morning. So I'll put a post up on Facebook once I've sent them all out to make sure everyone's received them. We'll be selling them till 9 a.m. Monday morning. Okay, so please message us on Facebook so we can get your name listed for our tickets. If you have any friends and family and you want to do something fun with them, you can even get them on FaceTime or video chat and play with them through that as well as us live. So you can make it a bit of a competition. We need at least 50 players to make the game work properly and be more fun. So if you know anyone that's interested in playing, it's only £1 and you will be helping us take care of these little people. We also have our crowdfunder page, and we're also taking donations through PayPal just to help us keep these guys going so that we can still be here for the community when all this is over. We're also hopefully starting our walks around Haslington with our birds of prey. So we'll be posting the routes that we'd be doing and you guys can look out for us. You can take pictures of the birds with social distancing in mind. So it's going to be so much fun. So guys, thank you very much for listening. I hope you've learned some things and aren't deaf from Kinta the Kookaburra anymore. And we will see you very, very soon. Tomorrow you will be tuning in with Liam and looking at decomposers and why they are so important for the food chain. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Bye.